It's time to take a look at our top 10 running backs for week 12. We're getting right here into the video. At number 10, I'm going James Conner. Now, I know he's doing his thing, but we're starting to see Trey Benson almost trickle back into it. That's why I've got him a little bit lower here on my list, but I think he has a good matchup this week. He can go in there and get the job done, even though he's still getting the bulk of the carries. This week, they're taking on a Seahawks defense, ranks 22nd against opposing running backs. He should continue to get the bulk of the carries, but like I said, I think if Trey Benson only had about 2 or 3 less carries than James Conner last week. So if you want to look at the whole picture in total, I think that James Conner is going to be the man moving forward, obviously. But I tell you all the time, injury is it's getting really close. When you talk about James Conner, what he can do, Trey Benson is going to continue to develop and continue to be better and better and better. Before you know it, he will be taking over the reins. But as far as this week, fantasy football wise, top 10, gotta still go James Conner. I think it's going to be a nice back and forth divisional matchup where you see James Conner really, again, get the bulk of the carries. And most of the time, he's able to break through and give you a solid fantasy performance. I do like myself some James Conner here in week 12. Coming here at number 9, I'm going to have to say Tyrone Tracy. Now, he is completely taken over this backfield. He's doing really good, and I love the way he runs the football. He's a converted wide receiver running over there at the University of Purdue. He did a lot of good things, and I'm saying that, I did in my rookie report with him. I said, look, he's hard to bring down. He's hard to tackle, this guy, and he is showing that even here in the NFL. Tyrone Tracy is putting up some solid fantasy numbers, and now that they don't have Daniel Jones, now Danny DeVito, Mr. Money's coming in here, they're going to run the football. They're going to show, hey, look, we have to run the football. This week, they're taking on a Bucs defense ranked 27th against opposing running backs. It's completely taken over the reins. Like I said, he's completely taken over. He's the man, the number one guy, and he's prolific. He can do it. I mean, he is a really good running back. I think this week what he's going to show you guys, again, against the Buccaneers team that they should beat. They should go out there and they should win. They should do everything they can to come away with the victory here. I think it's going to be a complete game. I think it's going to be something worthy and noteworthy. Ride it all home. Rock and roll. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I like myself some Tyrone Tracy this week. Moving right along here at number 8, we're going Jonathan Taylor. This is a running back that you kind of like, okay, what are you going to have here? Tale of two tapes. Are we going to have a good Anthony Richardson to play with him? Or are we going to have a bad Anthony Richardson to play with him? I think either way it goes, I think you have a high floor already with Jonathan Taylor and his talent alone. Doesn't matter if Joe Flacco is the quarterback or AR is the quarterback. He normally does pretty well rushing the ball, but when Anthony Richardson is on his game, it only makes Jonathan Taylor even better. This week, they're taking on a Lions defense ranks 4th against opposing running backs. Can the Taylor-AR combo continue, right? I mean, we saw what happened last week, right? And last week, we saw a good running game, right? It could happen. Now, granted, Anthony Richardson got all the rushing touchdowns. That easily could have swung over there to Jonathan Taylor, right? He's got a high talent level. I like myself some Jonathan Taylor. This should be a matchup that he should be able to exploit and to go out there and score a lot of points against. I loved seeing these situations and what's going to happen with this. I think that overall, you're going to see fireworks, right? Whether it's going to be a great AR or not, you're going to see a lot of fireworks coming through from, Jonathan Taylor. He's going to do it. He's going to do everything that you thought that he could do for fantasy football and for your team. I think it's going to score a ton of points for you overall, to where you're just like, you know what? I think overall, this is going to be really good for my fantasy football outlook for the rest of the season, especially if you have him in dynasty football. I don't care what happens and what you have with this situation. Jonathan Taylor can get the job done, especially going against a Lions team that you know is going to score a lot of football points. I think it's to the degree that you have to look at it and say, okay, they're going to have to score somehow. Whether it's Anthony Richardson throwing the football or running the football, they're going to have to score to keep up with the Lions. The Lions are pretty potent themselves. So I think that Jonathan Taylor has a stud of a week here in week 12. Get this guy into your lineup. I think you'll be happy that you did. Move right along here at number 7. We're going Kenneth Walker. Now, he's another running back that's pretty much booted, Charbonnet to the curb. Said, don't worry about this, bro. Don't worry about this. I got it. It is what it is, boo-boo. So what can you say about the whole situation, right? I mean, a lot of people thought Zach Charbonnet, when he was drafted, was one of the top running backs in that draft class. They thought when he's coming in, he's going to knock down Kenneth Walker quite a bit. It didn't happen. Kenneth Walker is very, very talented. This week they're taking on a Cardinals defense that ranks a 25th against opposing running backs, right? He should have every opportunity to have a solid week, the most solid week you probably can have in fantasy football. It's a great game, great divisional matchup. There's going to be a lot of back and forth going back. They're going to need him. They're going to need him in fantasy football, and volume is king. I don't think they're going to give the ball to Zach Charbonnet at all. Not as much as what people might think so. It's going to continue on all season long. This has been Kenneth Walker's backfield. Yeah, it's going to continue to be his backfield. I like myself some Kenneth Walker here in week 12. Move right along here. At number 6, we're going Jahmyr Gibbs. The dude is absolutely electric. He can do anything with the football. Last week I did call it's going to be more of a David Montgomery show than Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, I think the role will be reversed this week, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have the bigger week. They're taking on a Colts team right now that ranks 20th against opposing running backs. Could break some long runs this week, and I think that's exactly right. I think the Colts can have these long gash plays on them. Jahmyr Gibbs fits that bill perfectly. I think he can go in there and score a ton of fantasy points for you. I see probably a big, long, maybe 40-plus yard touchdown run in the cards for Jahmyr Gibbs this week against a Colts defense that's been struggling a little bit, right? And they don't know what their identity is on offense. But if Anthony Richardson can come in there and make this a game, they're going to need Jahmyr Gibbs on the field even more, even catching the football, which gives you a lot more fantasy opportunity because, like I say all the time, volume is king, and Jahmyr Gibbs could get a lot of volume if they need to be in a passing situation. So move right along here. At number 5, we're going Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon should easily be in my top 5 almost every single week. Just the amount of workload that this guy gets, there's nobody in this backfield, Damian Pierce or anybody, Ogabugabugabugabuga, whatever his name is, they don't touch Joe Mixon. He does everything. Running up the middle, running the outside, catching the football, it doesn't matter. He does everything. I love myself some Joe Mixon. This week they're taking on a Titans defense ranked 16th against opposing running backs. His usage is through the roof right now. And the Titans defense actually has a good secondary and really good against the pass, really good against the quarterback. So I think that they're going to run the football a lot this week, which is going to open up Joe Mixon for a lot of yardage. I like seeing what he provides for your fantasy team, and I like to see what he provides for the Texans. This is probably one of the better signings that they had. They let Devin Singletary go in free agency, ended up getting Joe Mixon in the room. Boy, was that an upgrade. They haven't seen a running back like this since Arian Foster, right? This is a really stud of a running back. Easy number 5 for me here in week 12. Move right along here. At number 4, we're going Devon Achane. This is a guy, I'm telling you, electric. And ever since Tua Tagovailoa came back, yeah, Achane is doing his thing right now, and he can do it week in and week out. But this week, they're taking on a Patriots defense ranked 23rd against opposing running backs. Like I said, he's still the number 1 running back in this backfield. A lot of people are maybe worried that Raheem Mostert came back, he was going to take over that role as that number 1 guy. No, Devon Achane got that. He never gave that back. When Raheem Mostert came back, nothing. Jalen Wright was there, nothing. Devon Achane is potent. Anytime he touches the football, he could take it to the house. I think this week they get back on track. They rock and roll. You're going to see some big runs from Achane, and he's going to have over 100 yards rushing this week. I love myself some Devon Achane here in week 12. We're moving right along here. We're going at number 3, Christian McCaffrey, right? He's still kind of getting his legs under him, right? It's still kind of building up a little bit. He's not the Christian McCaffrey that we saw prior to the injury. Now, I'm hoping he gets back to that level. If he doesn't, before the end of the season, I think his draft stock's going to plummet next week. But look, this week they're taking on a Packers defense ranked 17th against opposing running backs. He's getting his legs back under him. Like I said, he's not there yet. He doesn't deserve to be the number 1 or number 2 guy right now, in my opinion. The other 2 guys I have above him clearly are better running backs at this point right now. But Christian McCaffrey, you got to keep him in your top 5. The dude, he can break any play at any given time. He's a stud of a running back. You're not benching Christian McCaffrey. You know, go in there with caution. We'll see what happens. See if they give him even more of a workload, taken away from Jordan Mason. If he does that and he's able to break off some runs, Christian McCaffrey could be back and ready for your NFL or fantasy football playoffs sooner rather than later. All right, so let's go right over here to number 2. We're going Derrick Henry. The man-child himself can run over absolutely anybody, including your grandma. The dude can get the job done. Love him over here with the Ravens, teaming up with Lamar Jackson. You just don't know who you're going to stop, which opens up Derrick Henry quite a bit. He's run for a touchdown every single game so far this season. He's just running wild. The dude's on pace for 2K yards rushing. Just killing the game right now. This week, they're taking on a Chargers defense ranked 3rd against opposing running backs. Absolute man-child, like I said. And even though they're going against a team that's 3rd against the run, it doesn't matter. Derrick Henry's a different animal. Absolutely different animal. I don't care if they're 1st against the run. Derrick Henry, when he lowers his shoulder, he's going to deliver the boom. It's going to happen. Love myself some Derrick Henry here in week 12. He's a top flight running back this week. Get him into your lineup. We were along number 1. No surprise here. We're going Saquon Barkley. This dude is the offense of the Eagles. He's carrying this team on his back. It doesn't matter if Jalen Hurts has a good game or not. Saquon Barkley is coming to play. A lot of times you see Saquon Barkley, he may not have any rushing yards to the first, second, and third quarter, but once that fourth quarter hits, the dude's hitting over 100 yards rushing. Absolutely phenomenal. But this week, they're taking on the Rams defense, ranks 13th against opposing running backs. He's dominating the backfield in the touches. And I think it's going to be a close game. I think Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, there's going to be a lot of running game over there. There's going to be a lot of points scored over there. And I think they're going to have to keep up with that. And how are they going to do that? With a lot of Jalen Hurts and a lot of Saquon Barkley. So look for Saquon Barkley really to clearly be the #1 running back this week in week 12. Set it and forget it. Get the guy in your lineup. Be happy that you did. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, right? I mean, we're pumping out so many videos each and every week to help you set the best lineup possible. That way you can ultimately win a championship. Leave a comment down below too. Is there anybody in the top 10 that I didn't put in the top 10 that you believe should be in there? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.